All right, hey everybody, Herc Magnus here again with the Rank and Rent Club. And today I've got Franky Surroca here with me because Franky just closed a Rank and Rent deal. So I wanted to bring him online and interview him, and so you guys can see what he's gone through. So welcome to the call, Franky. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to finally be on a success story chain.
Yeah. So let's start here. Let's start with you. Obviously, you closed a Rank and Rent deal, which is the reason we're having the interview. But let's like kind of back up. We'll get to the deal and stuff like that. Let's start with how did you find Rank and Rent Club, and why did you join Rank and Rent Club, and how long ago was that?
Yeah. So I found Rank and Rent Club. I believe it was, I knew of you. I followed you around, Todd as well. I know you guys been around in the SEO space with a lot of other people as well. So yeah, I kind of I think I was following you guys on Facebook, stuff like that, and I think you guys were promoting. I remember now. You specifically said you had like a live case study that you're gonna do from start to finish, ranking, like building out a Rank and Rent site. I was like, holy crap, that sounds amazing. That sounds legit as heck. Nobody really does that. And if they do, it's like super behind closed door and all this like voodoo, whatever. So I was like, cool, let's check it out. And I loved it. It was a amazing presentation. It was like legit, like start to finish. It was like 2 hours long or whatever it was. Like it shows like there was no, no stone left unturned. So I thought that was super cool. Immediately build the trust in me that like, yo, this guy knows what he's talking about. I mean, I kind of already knew that, but it just reinforced it now. And it kind of put me into your bubble. I was kind of in other bubbles, but this kind of threw me into your bubble, and it was perfect because I was doing the SEO at the time, but kind of not successful as I would want to be. So Rank and Rent came out. I was like, what? This is exactly what I'm looking for. So as soon as the first release you did, I was on that immediately. Yeah, I jumped on full access immediately. The first launch you did, yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. I think that I don't even remember the site we built though, but I remember it. I think it might have even been Salt Lake City Dentist site, but we were like, let's build it live in front of the audience, show them what we're gonna, give them a taste of what the Rank and Rent Club's all about. And yeah, I think a lot of people definitely like that. So, so since you've been involved with Rank and Rent Club, talk a little bit about because you said you've done SEO before. Like, let's start there. So, what were you doing before Rank and Rent Club? What was your like primary business focus, or what were you doing?
Yeah, so I was kind of like I was doing a version of essentially the Rank and Rent method, but not to its full potential, not with the software, not with the step-by-step training. Kind of just like general stuff out there. I joined a couple other courses, even like the big ones too, but it's just it wasn't as structured, and it wasn't solely focused in on Rank and Rent, right? It had like this overall gist of SEO, and then there's like a corner over here for like Rank and Rent, like maybe a bonus video or something, like not like a dedicated course that's like specifically for that. So that's immediately why I was like, oh, this is perfect, because I was doing it, wasn't getting success. I was able to rank a couple sites, but I mean, not at scale, not efficiently. Like I said, it took me like probably like 2 years to like get some like, well, I think 2 or 3 sites up, which is ridiculous. Like now we're we're cranking out sites, 10 sites in a week or something, or like, so yeah, this just was like, it was my calling. I was like, oh, this is perfect, man. Like, and I was already kind of sold on the Rank and Rent idea, and then just hearing you and going through the whole funnel and like educating me on the Rank and Rent even more, like it's just reinforced everything, And now that I'm thinking about it, now that we're talking about it out loud, I remember that you were on I think I remember the first time it was a webinar. I think it was for a cold something like this. Is years ago, man, like 2016 maybe. I don't know if you remember something like this. There was a tool, there was like an email tool or something, and I remember you were you were on there, and I think that's when I first heard about it. You had like the Rank and Rent guide, and that's when I first like was getting into the whole Rank and Rent thing. So you did help initially with the whole getting into the Rank and Rent space, and then I kind of drifted, explored around, I guess. Didn't get, the answers weren't there, obviously, and then I joined the Rank and Rent Club, and it was like totally like clear, everything I needed to know, so really, really cool.
So yeah, that was like the 2015 pool resurfacing Phoenix Rank and Rent guide that I released. I don't know what the webinar was anymore. I've done so many, but yeah,
so
like,
long ago.
yeah, that was like the Rank and Rent guide that really started it all. for me and for a lot of other people actually, and like we even have members that said, you know, they've got sites rented today still from the putting it together on that Rank and Rent guide. But this course and obviously our tools are so much more. So talk to me a little bit about how your knowledge and shit has changed. Like what has the Rank and Rent Club really done for you?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I'll basically.
All right. Sorry guys. We got a little bit internet hacked here with bandwidth, but I'm going to ask the question again. So Franky, since you've joined Rank and Rent Club, what has it really done for you and your knowledge of SEO and stuff like that? Like, what do you say about like the learning and stuff like inside the Rank and Rent Club?
Yeah, definitely. So easily to digest, you know, definitely very relatable, you know, and also the way everything's broken down into different, you know, departments and, you know, the find, the rank, the build, you know, all the way it's broken down into these different sections. Was really added a lot of clarity. You know, like I said, Rank and Rent was more of like a vague concept, sounded really cool, and we kind of just threw stuff up on the wall, you know, and we got kind of lucky. Some of the stuff stuck, but there was no actual structure. There was no actual like, you know, this is the process. This is how it's done. This is what you do to increase the rankings. This is what you do if you go down. You know, all this stuff. So it really added that. Plus, not to mention the whole coaching aspect to it, and just having, you know, Herc available to ask and whatnot, the forum, the Facebook groups, just, you know, having those resources and the tools. It's just like, you know, it's literally stacking everything in your favor. So it seemed like a no-brainer, and it definitely was a no-brainer. And even as I'm in it, you know, it definitely has paid off already. And, you know, it hasn't even been that long since we joined initially. So it's amazing how already, you know, I learned so much, and Rank and Rent is just so much more clear. It's not just a theory anymore. It's real. It's like, it's real. It's online real estate, right? It's online digital real estate. And it's powerful, man. Everyone that I talk to, at least here around me, it's just, they're just blown away. They're like, they never heard the concept, like so foreign to them. So, you know, we really are onto something that's like completely like, you know, it's the perfect opportunity for us to really capitalize. And having this course and this community and the tools, everything, it's like you pretty much have everything you need. So yeah, man, it was a huge boost for my business for sure.
Did your SEO process, because you said you'd done SEO before this, and you obviously 2015 you read my Rank and Rent guide, and you've been doing SEO kind of in and out, following some other guys. But like since Rank and Rent Club, has your SEO process changed all that much?
Yeah, it has. My keyword research, I mean, I didn't really have a real keyword. So I think, you know, basically I had to use multiple tools to get an accurate keyword research. I was using a ton of free different tools, Keywords Everywhere, which at the time was free, Uber Suggest, you know, all these ridiculous tools to finally put it all into a conglomerate and like really decide, okay, what is the accurate data? And then, you know, then keyword supremacy came, and then that was a game changer for me, because it just had everything in one. And at the time I wasn't really running Google Ads, so I didn't really use the keyword planner, and like it wasn't giving accurate data, and like there was all that mess going on at the time. So it was so hard to get real good keyword research. And then the build outs of the websites, you know, just making it, you know, in a very simple process, you know, just the planning of the pages, man, that was gold as well. That was huge. That was like one of the most major ones for me. Using that whole process that you teach, and then using the AdWords, like the whole way that it's set up in Project Supremacy, it's amazing. So that was huge for me too. And having like a whole strategy for each page. Before, I would just like throw up a page, look at the competitors, look what they have, and kind of just reverse engineer, throw up a bunch of pages. I don't even know if those pages are really good or not. You know, I just kind of would just, hey, they're doing it, let me do it too, and let me just beat them. You know, I'll backlink them. You know, and there was, you know, not the right move. You know, not the right move at all. So game changer. You know, once I had the structure and how we can really hone in on multiple keywords in one page and like really solidify that and let Google know what's up, you know, for each page. That was huge. You know, so much, man. You know, speaking directly to Google, I was very like, you know, hesitant with a lot of stuff. And, you know, this whole training helped me also communicate better and know that Google's a robot, man. You got to let them know what's up. You got to talk to them. You got to put it in the key areas to let them know. You know, I used to be very cautious and use a lot of latent semantic and all this stuff or whatever. And of course that's key as well. But, you know, it's just a lot of theory, man, a lot of theory. And then when you just do it and you're making it happen right in front of our eyes and it's ranking and, you know what I mean? It just cuts all this theory out the window. It's like, well, we don't need to worry about all these what ifs. Like, he just did it right now in front of me with this process. So I don't care about these what ifs. I'm just going to do what he did because it worked. So that's really like the huge like forefront of what it was, man. You just guiding it, like, you know, like guiding the troops, like, look, man, this is how it's done. And you know, we just follow along, man, and we get to share that with you. So thanks for sharing that, man. That's helped a lot.
Yeah. And like, I think to me, I mean, the two most important things that you got to get right out of the gate. Number one, you have to get keyword research right. There's no important winning a game that nobody's even playing. So you were talking about like reverse engineering other sites and they'd have a page for it. You're like, well, if they do, I do. But what if nobody's even searching for that shit? So you're wasting time and money and effort, you know what I mean? Like building those pages. Whereas, you know, the sites that, or the way that I teach and the tools that we have, like the first thing we do is identify has the possibility to even get traffic. You know, you go do a bunch of keyword research with keyword supremacy. Then with project supremacy, that's all about, you know, building the blueprint of your house or the blueprint of your website and saying, okay, these keywords need to be targeted on this page and these keywords need to be targeted on this page. So it's like all the other stuff, like all this advanced, you know, LSI, and like I heard you mention that, and then like people start getting weird about densities and content lengths and shit like that. Like none of that. Those are all tweaks. Like that's the last 5%. But the 95% is like, am I targeting the right keywords that have, you know, traffic, but no competition or low competition? And then are they on the right pages? Like, am I finding the right keywords and am I targeting them on the right pages and building my website? So it's like, I don't know. I'm very systematic, and it's funny because I see in the background of your video, you have like whiteboards and charts and shit like that. So maybe like for a guy like you, the way that I set it up to teach it it resonated well with you because you are pretty systematic, and so am I.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That definitely played a huge factor. You know, it wasn't all sporadic. Like, here's a whole module on this. Like, figure it out. Like, you had it all like in a systematic way that makes perfect sense. So yeah, I am a systems guy. So yeah, that helped a lot.
Yeah, and SOPs. I know from talking with you, you're big on SOPs too, and it's almost kind of like the course is like an SOP a little bit, because I don't want anyone worrying about, you know, how am I going to backlink this site? It's like, look, you have no business trying to learn about backlinks if you don't know nothing about keyword research. So until you master keyword research, you know, don't move on to the next step. And that's kind of how the course is laid out, is like, figure this step out because it's the first one you got to get right. And when you do, then move on to the next step. And then finally, when you're on that fourth step, you know, that's when you start seeing your sites ranking, and you start maybe seeing results that might surprise people, because it in the end, once you understand it all, you're like, geez, it really wasn't that hard. You know, it's find a good keyword, build a website and optimize it, you know, rank it in Google, and then rent it out. It's 4 steps, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's it, man.
So now, so one thing I like to do with my members is when they're joining the Rank and Rent Club, if I see they're in the forum and they're posting and, you know, they're replying to emails and they're asking me questions, and basically what I'm seeing is like, this guy's trying or this girl's trying, like they're really working here, and they're struggling, because I think it's a natural part of any business, especially when you're learning something new or you're relearning something, for people to struggle and try and get their head around concepts. What I like to do is reach out to them at that point, and I will do one-on-ones. And Franky, I don't even know how many one-on-ones we've done now. But I see you working, right? So I'm so happy to like work with you and give you that time. So tell me a little bit about how you feel our one-on-ones have benefited your business.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's been definitely priceless, man. But I've never had the level of like coaching like that, or in terms of like one-on-ones like that on a specific topic like this, so deep, like ever. I've never had that experience. So first off, that was already like huge. To get like actually someone like overseeing, like, you know, you go on webinars, you maybe mention a question, maybe they'll look at your site, but like to the level that, you know, that we communicate and to the level of us, you know, that you really dive in with me and we dive into the objections and the obstacles and kind of the roadblocks that I was running into, and to just, you know, to you be able to really just walk me through it, you know, through your perspective, and seeing like, damn, like I totally didn't see it that way, you know. So that's massive, you know, massive for me, like huge eye-opening, like epiphany situations with like dealing with clients, with prospecting, with ranking, you know, even like, you know, I had troubles with sites and, you know, all that stuff, you know, and every aspect of the whole process. Doing this has been priceless, you know, because there's no way I could have, and honestly, I didn't even expect it to be like, so like, I knew it was going to be great, but I knew it was going to be like kind of short and compact. And, you know, I was like, you know, let's you know, hopefully it goes well. And I think I was even late the first time. So I was like, oh man, hopefully he doesn't get pissed or something. And then it worked out, man. It was so good. And then, you know, we hit it off too. And I think that was awesome as well. And yeah, man, it's been huge. Everything about my business, you know, has improved ever since communicating with you multiple times, man. So it's priceless, bro, priceless.
Yeah, and like I'll say this, like I wouldn't work with you this much if I didn't see that you weren't putting in the work, and hopefully somebody watching this video isn't like, well, I'll just sign up and get Herc to help me out, because that's just not it's not how it works. There's like 2,500 people in Rank and Rent Club now, and obviously I can't one-on-one with everyone, but I do like to help the people that are putting in the work, and you've been putting in the work. And just a couple of things that I want to talk about, like that I know, like when we first started one-on-oneing, you were showing me one of your sites where I think the issue was you were just like taking on too much on a single page and trying to rank for like this and that and the other thing. And I was like, no, man, like get specific here and talk a little bit about that, because that was a good one.
That was a perfect example. I was trying to rank like the homepage for like 3 different keywords, which like it's crazy.
3 different services, because you can rank for 3 different keywords.
Right. 3 different services. Yeah, so totally separate from one another, and I think even different locations. Like it was a mess. Yeah, it was definitely not what you teach. But I already had started that prior to the Rank and Rent. So when you took a look at it, you know, you definitely you broke it down, and that was like made so much sense. You know, like each page have its own individual, you know, why would you confuse Google, right? You want to communicate as clearly and concisely. It's a robot, you know what I mean? They're not, you know, you got to communicate like that, you know, and then putting it in the right places multiple times, you know, and all that stuff was huge, because I was like I said, the semantic, and I was doing multiple stuff everywhere, and the title and the description and the H1s, and it was just a mess, man. So that structure was huge, and I saw impact, like I think within a week. When we spoke, immediately we jumped, and we hopped on the first page for that keyword. I think like a week after we spoke, so that was huge. So yeah, even something like that, so small, could, you know, well, not small, but you know what I mean. It
is small, because it wasn't a big change, but it made a big impact, right? And
yeah, huge impact.
Yeah, and like I don't want to like sound like, you know, I'm the guy that knows everything, but I like what you said about perspective, right? Because all I'm really doing is looking at what you got and then just giving you my perspective on it. Now you choose to follow my advice or not. You chose to, and it worked out. Now that doesn't mean every time I give you my perspective it's going to work out, but sometimes it does. And the thing I think that I got going on is like I know my basics, right? And I call them core fundamentals of SEO. And a lot of people, for some reason, I feel like they're easy, but a lot of people just skip those core fundamentals. But those core fundamentals are like 90% of ranking a site in Google, and people are still getting it wrong, right? And so that's kind of what I saw with you. I was like, oh, you're just missing a few tweaks here and there. One of the other calls that was awesome. So Franky does like such a wicked job at prospecting. He's got teams in place, and he's such like I said, look at his whiteboards, man. Like this guy's on the ball, right? Like, but your prospecting is on point. Like you're able to go out there and prospect for people to get on free trials of properties that you have that are generating phone calls. But you had a little issue on one of them, and you tell everyone about that, because that one was a pretty awesome one. You don't have to go into like your niches and your details.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I remember there was two that was kind of up in the air at the time. I think that's what you're talking about, right? So yeah, we had 2 because I got multiple Rank and Rent sites, you know, which is what everyone should do. Have multiple out there, right? So I have multiple out there, different prospecting going on, and I had 2 that were, you know, potentially on the hook. But this is the mistake. The mistake was for one of them. I didn't follow. Again, this is prior to the whole training, but I didn't initially reach out and make sure that they were interested first before we started the initial, you know, free trial, right? So I would just, again, from other training, and this is what I'm talking about, there wasn't much structure. Other training that I saw that I maybe, you know, super glued with another training, and like, you know what I mean, like, because there wasn't a dedicated Rank and Rent like this. So, you know, and they taught, you know, to send their leads, and then they're going to get the little whisper message, and they're going to get the little email, and you know, then they're going to be like, hey, yeah, I've been waiting for you to call me. I'm so happy. Like, you know, and that's not at all what happened at all. It was a disaster. It went to the gatekeeper, and then the gatekeeper passed me on to like a bigger gatekeeper, which was the manager or whatever. And the owner at no point knew what the heck's going on. And then she said that she's going to talk to him. You know, it's all a bunch of, you know, it gets all blurry at that point, right? Because if the owner doesn't know anything, then it's just like you pass something around. Then by the time it gets to him, who knows what's going on? So when I hopped on a call with him, he wasn't, you know, he didn't even know the amount of calls we sent him. We sent him like a lot, man, like a lot, like, I don't know, too many that he should have not gotten. And I took too long to respond too. And yeah, it was just a bad rookie, not like a bad mistake, you know, it's just a bad mistake. Then I learned a lot, and, you know, Herc pointed that out immensely, like immediately make sure you get the free trial first, get their interest first, get them hooked on it first. And then you go ahead and do that. And that's kind of what I did with the other prospecting situation. But then when we get to the grand finale, like I love everything. Everything's great. The free trial went pretty smooth to an extent. You know, it wasn't the decision maker at the end, even though she was talking like it was, she was acting like it was. You know, I don't know. I guess I just, it didn't, I thought it was a decision maker, and it wasn't. So long story short, you know, she was with it, but then when she spoke to the owner, he wasn't with it. And of course not. He never spoke to me. He doesn't know who I am. There's no relationship. You know, it's just her, you know, just telling him in a 2-minute conversation, hey, this guy who's sending leads for the last 2 weeks, blah, blah. You know, like what kind of response is he going to give like that, right? So yeah, I mean, I pushed for it, whatever. It didn't play out. But, you know, that's the game, right? You live and learn, and because of the, you know, the prospecting stuff that I do have, luckily I can make mistakes like that and then just recoup and get new prospects on the hook, and just keep trying, you know, and keep refining my process with the stuff that I'm learning, you know.
Yeah,
obviously because of our talks.
Yeah, and that's a big one to learn, and a good one to learn, that like when you get someone on a free trial, which we'll talk about that in a second, that prospecting process, but when you get someone on a free trial, you want to make sure that the owner of the company or the person who's going to be cutting you the check knows what's going on. And there's ways to do that. There's ways to like get them on board early. And I noticed that was one of the, because you had so many great like free trials starting, and then I'd be like, dude, I know Franky's getting a deal, and then he'd come back and he's like, man, it fell through. And just like, then we'd look at your process and be like, okay, well, what happened, right? And it's easy to spot, right? Once you have like an outsider or someone like listening to what happened, it's like, oh yeah, man, like some small error. Another one that we had talked about is like, you were scaring. So the idea here, guys, when you get your sites ranking and they start generating phone calls, is you go out and you start prospecting people to take a free trial of your phone calls. And that's something that Franky's doing really, really well. But you also started not being able to close those free trial, or not that you did close them, but you were having a little difficulty because of one line in your script. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Talk about that one, because that's an important one for people.
That is an important one, yeah. So I had my process in place, I had my team in place, everything was being executed amazingly, but it just wasn't, the appointments weren't being set. Like there wasn't deals being set up for me, and it would always be an issue. And you know, I would just be listening to the calls, and I'd be like, hey, you know, this sounds okay. I don't know what's going on. And then I spoke to Herc, and then the whole idea is, after we get them all, you know, at the point what was going on, we got them excited, we got them hyped, and we're going to get your phone ringing, you know, this is what's going on, this is what we're about. And instead of executing on that excitement of what's going on at that moment, we were going ahead and pushing them for another meeting, instead of, you know, getting that free trial right there. So basically letting them know, like, look, there's no risk for you. There's no risk for you jumping on this right now. And having my team member, or if it was me, you know, just on that call, just getting them like, hey, like, let's just go ahead and let's set you up right now. Like, why are we even waiting? But what I would do is I would extend it, set up another meeting, or my team member, my appointment setter would set it up and then set up a meeting for me. By the time I get on that meeting, they're not hot anymore. They're not excited anymore. You know, that wore off, all that excitement. So, you know, by the time they hop on, they're back to their skepticism. They're back to, this is a scam, or I've done this before, or whatever. And kind of just, I kept falling through. And then that's where that one tweak, you know, that Herc mentioned, and then boom, we started getting appointments, and that's how I closed this last one. So
yeah, and you were even using language like when they were like ready to go or whatever through the initial contact, you'd be like, all right, let me get you on a phone with a specialist, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
the specialist.
Yeah, the specialist. And I remember hearing
a strategy call. Yeah.
I was like, dude, that's the worst word to use, because like from their perspective, they're like, oh shit, here comes the closer. Like this guy's going to pressure me into a sale. Nobody wants to talk to a closer. But yeah, so like when I heard that on your process, I was like, dude, no, like simple tweak here, man. Just like the guy wants the trial, get him on the trial, get a phone number. And if you want to go talk to him later on, this is where like talking to the owner comes in. It's just like, look, you know, let another guy's going to call you. He's going to help you identify that the calls are coming from us. Can you make sure that the owner of the business is on the call so that he understands the calls will be coming from us? And then you can take him through some like nice options to set up like call identification procedures and shit like that. And they never really get scared of anything, because the whole way through that process now, you know, their interest is what brought them there. They brought skepticism with it, but you kept that skepticism low by saying, look, we're not going to charge you. We're not going to, you know, have any contracts, right? And you kept the interest high by saying, we're just going to send you free leads. That's all we want to do is send you free leads. So like any objections that come up out of that, you can really just like say, listen, let's just get you these free leads right now. All I need is your phone number. The free leads will start immediately, and I'll answer all your questions once you start getting the phone calls, because you really want to get the benefit to them, like growing and growing and growing. And the only way to do that is for someone to call their business and be like, I need your service right now. And then they're going to be like, you know, first call's real, second call's real, third call's real, fourth call's real. Like by the time they're at the end of the free trial, you know, the idea is like, man, I made some money with your free calls. Okay, good. Give me some of that money, right? Like, that's the whole process. We are going to run into skepticism, but there's easy ways to just deflect it. And you had just a tweak in your system that you needed. And that's what I think. It was funny because you closed that deal. Like I remember you gave me that tweak. And we have a recording of me and you on that call that I blurred out a lot of stuff in the members area now. But I think the next day you call me, you're like, dude, I got another free trial. Like he signed on already. Like 24 hours later, he was on, and then that's the guy you closed.
Yeah, that's the guy.
The very first guy after that tweak went all the way through the free trial and then closed the deal.
Amazing. Just goes to show, man, that just one tweak and perspective, like you said. Like, you know, you had that perspective and you found that, you know, crazy. Man.
Yeah. I'm a skeptic. So it's easy for me to like sit in the position of a business owner and hear what you're saying and as a business owner be like I know everything they're going to say because I'd say it too. Right. So just got to think about like, well, how would I calm myself down in this situation? Like that's how we're going to calm a business owner down. So the deal that you got, this was an interesting one. I like this. Like, I don't want to like let the cat out of the bag. I don't want to reveal your niches, your customers and stuff like that. But the structure of the deal, it wasn't quite what you wanted, right? But it worked out in a way that it could get really big for you, right? Can you talk about that a little bit, or?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I'll definitely touch on it. You know, in a way. So one of the sites that I'm using for prospecting that I've had around is we're talking about a bigger site. This is one of my bigger directory sites. So this one's getting a lot of volume. And yeah, you know, we were prospecting, and this is the guy. As soon as we made the tweak, he was one of the dudes that one of the first ones that we continued the prospecting with the new scripting. And you know, he spoke to us, and he let us know that like, look, I don't do that's not my specific service. Like what you're asking for. We do something very related. You know, but you know, we have some, you know, we have the machinery to make that happen. So you know what, we'll take some jobs, you know, we'll go ahead and we'll give it a shot. Basically because there was no risk, because we didn't say, you know, we're just like, hey, we'll give you the free leads, you know, go ahead and try it out. And after 2 weeks, you know, if you don't like it, cool, no big deal. At least you got some free money and some, you know, some leads, hopefully. But if you do, then, you know, let's I would love to discuss more. You know?
He took it because there was like, even though I don't really offer exactly what you have, it's so free risk. Like I'll try it, right?
Exactly.
Which is perfect, really. I mean, it's kind of bad in a way because he doesn't even offer what you have, but it ended up working out. So he took it because there's no free trial. Then what happened?
Yeah. So he took it and he's like, let's give it a shot, and no risk whatsoever. So then he started doing it, and lo and behold, he started making money. You know, he got like 40 calls in the 2 weeks. And you know, he closed like a good chunk of them, maybe like, I don't even know, like maybe like a handful of them. And yeah, he obviously made money. You know, I could hear the calls, everything's recorded obviously and whatnot. So then I reached out to him after the trial was over, and and just you know, saying, hey, so how did it go? How was the experience and whatnot? And he told me straight up that and the cool thing is actually was able to I think I told you this. I was able to get this recorded, so just to help myself too, kind of get better and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. So I got to talk to him about it, and he basically was like, hey, look, man, like this is not what we do, but we made some money, and you know, I appreciate these calls. Like they're actually, you know, they're actually good calls. So what I want to do is I want to just pretty much open a whole separate section of my business because of you, basically, because of these calls. I'm gonna go ahead and you know, buy another machinery. I'm gonna hire another person to just 100% work the phone because of the arrangement that we did. So it was kind of a unique type of deal. It wasn't like a typical type of deal. So, but this is beneficial because it could be used in interesting ways. But basically he's gonna like a pay per call type of situation, but he's getting charged for every single call that comes in, regardless if it's missed, if it's answered, it doesn't matter. So it literally is up to me how much volume we get. And then that's, you know, it's literally as much volume as we get, that's how much we're going to get paid. So the price keeps going up. So I like that. And I like the fact that we can get other people on board under that model, you know, but you know, so it's very lucrative for what I wanted to do. And he was all for it. And now he's changing his whole business, like having a whole separate section, hiring a dedicated phone person, hiring a person to, you know, maneuver the machinery to go ahead and execute on the jobs.
Because it's an easy pivot for him, right? Like it's not something that he offered, but it was an easy pivot. And this is such a cool deal because like he took it knowing that it's not quite his service. It was close. So he's like, but I have no risk, which is because you set him up with no risk, which is perfect. Took the deal, got the calls, made money, and then opened a whole new portion of business because it worked, and then said yes to you.
Yeah.
So like you're helping this guy expand his whole business, and like it's crazy because of COVID times right now. You know what I mean? And here's this guy because of what you did is now like pivoting his whole business. It's and crazy. Who knows? Like he might focus more on that one side than the original side. You never know, right? But so you went on a PPL with this guy. Were you hoping for like the monthly rental, or did you go in show him like a couple different options, or how did you handle that with him?
Yeah, so I offered him both, you know. I know we kind of went over this also, like we have like the breakdowns there. So, you know, kind of told him, look, if you want to do a monthly, this is what it's going to look like. If you want to do a pay per lead, this is what it's going to look like. I didn't even bring up the qualified calls. Like, you know, I already had enough, you know, issues with that in the past. I'm sure it works, but for me, it's just, I don't want to deal with it. So I just told him, look, either per call or this is like an average of what you can expect, and this is what you're going to get. If it goes over, you're going to pay more. If it goes under, you're going to pay less. Kind of, you know, what we spoke about. And he liked both of them. He just wanted to speak to his partner, kind of get an idea. He talked it over, and that's when they came back. And they're like, you know what, instead of just, you know, let's take this serious and let's go ahead. We're going to hire and we're going to build out all this stuff. So then he said, you know, if I'm going to hire someone to be on the phone, then if I'm going to pay you, I want to hire someone to be on the phone and answer every single call that comes in, so I don't lose anything through the cracks. And I was like, great, that's what I would recommend, you know, for sure. Because a lot of people, you know, at least in a lot of industries I'm in, man, one of the biggest struggles is not picking up, like clients not picking up calls. And then, you know, later on it's like, well, I'm not getting leads. And it's like, well, you're not picking up, you know, so I hate that. So it's a pain. Yeah, it's a pain. So the fact is that like now he's going to have somebody and it's pay per call. So, you know, I don't want to hear like I didn't get any leads or whatever, like, you know, like you're going to pay for it anyways. So, so it worked out. So yeah, I was going for either one. I didn't, in a little way, I kind of like the PPL in this case because of the way my site structure, the whole directory kind of thing going on. And there's so many different cities that we're doing that, you know, it's fine. I don't want to have exclusivity in there in that area because then I can just kind of like do a mass approach type of thing. But yeah, I'm happy. He's happy. I think it worked out, and the potential to grow is there. That's a big thing because one of my early deals, I remember we spoke about this. One of my first deals ever before Rank&Rent, like whatever. I closed the deal and I capped out. Like I pretty much I set up I didn't prepare myself to grow with it, you know.
Or your customer, right?
The what?
Or your like you have to mentally prep your customer that like if I bring you more calls, you're gonna pay for more calls. But if you just say it's $1,500 a month, you double the call volume, they're like, I want to pay $1,500 a month, like, but you didn't. Yep. Yeah, so you got to prep both.
Prep both, yes. That's again, that's another mistake that I made, and you know, that's hopefully, you know, you guys can learn from that as well. Yeah, you know, definitely, you know, don't cut yourself short. Like, yeah, it's going to be this much a month, and then that's it. And like, just pray that they close it. And like, yeah, they said yes, okay, cool. And you just start celebrating. I mean, it was my first Rank and Rent deal. So yeah, I was like, you know, I was giddy. This was like years ago. But, you know, looking back on it, you know, I definitely capped out. So I didn't want to have that happen again. Yeah. So that's why this puts me in a position where it's lucrative for me, where I can, as much as I want to grow, as much as I want to keep ranking more cities and get more volume for this guy, the more I'm going to get paid. So it opens a lot for me.
Yeah. Now, like, leverage too, like talking about room for growth, you have room to grow with his business, but you have a site that's generating, you know, the same type of leads in other areas. You can actually leverage him, right? Because once he's real happy, you know what I mean? Like, give him, like, he's obviously happy enough with the trial to start paying for your phone calls, but down the road, maybe a month from now, you know, he's actually bought more of equipment to handle the new calls, and that aspect of his business is growing. You can leverage him, right? By being like, just like simple things like, hey dude, can you get on a Zoom call with me? I want to shoot a video, just like I'm doing with you. Like, I'm leveraging your success to help, you know, new people buy. I'm not going to lie about that, but you can do the same thing with him and just be like, dude, you know, get on a Zoom call, talk about our process and stuff like that. And then you can go to other companies and work that into your whole script, right? And work it into your funnel. Like, here's another guy I did this with, check out what he's doing. And it'll just make everything easier. And you're just literally duplicating and leveraging, right? So you have like not only room to grow with him, but you have room to grow into other cities as well by leveraging him, which is awesome.
Great point. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Testimonials are huge. Getting that's massive, man. That's something I'm working on getting more of. Yeah,
absolutely. So awesome, man. Congrats on the deal. I know you have other deals like in the line, but we just wanted to focus in on this one. So is there anything else you want to say? Otherwise, man, we'll just sign off, and thanks so much for being on.
Yeah. I mean, just you know, just keep just keep ranking, keep prospecting. I mean, you see all the mistakes that I went through, kind of all the tribulations, the obstacles, you know, and not once did it ever in a million years that I'm like, oh man, I don't know about this. You know what I mean? Like that. Never did that ever cross my mind. I mean, it's just part of the process. Like, I just go in knowing that, you know, there's gonna be some stuff you gotta solve. I mean, at the end of the day, we're problem solvers, right? Like, we solve problems. We're solving problems for these clients. We're solving problems for these leads that are calling. They need the service that they're calling for. You know, so we're just solving problems all day. So if you run into a problem, you know, it's your job to solve it. So that's I'm happily willing to share all this stuff because, you know, I know it's gonna help others. And if I was watching this, I would wanna learn from other people's mistakes too. Like, I know we had the other interview you had, you know, I learned so much as well. Every type of, you know, little interviews and these success stories are huge, man. You know, we learn a lot. So hopefully the same with my interview, hopefully it helped out some of you guys in the group, man.
Yeah. And then you're going to come on a webinar and you're going to help teach people your prospecting process too, right?
Oh yeah. That's a little secret, but yeah. I'm going to definitely show you guys some really cool, juicy stuff that's working, some processes, some really exciting stuff, all in the prospecting, which is really exciting. So I'll talk to you guys on there, but it's gonna be sick. That's how I'm able to continuously get people in the pipeline. So I think that'll be fun for everybody.
Yeah, and then I guess the last thing I'll say is, like, the size of your success must be related to the size of your whiteboard.
I like it.
Nobody can see it, but like, I see it right behind you, man. I always see these big ballers with.
That's it. That's. Get yourself a whiteboard, man. What are you doing? Everybody out there, man, get a whiteboard.
Yeah, it helps keep your thoughts organized so that you can remember what you got to do every day. Awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming on the call.
My pleasure, guys. Awesome. Best of luck.
Good. Awesome, dude.
Sick.